Hey, everybody. Have you ever asked yourself if you got rid of that subconscious belief that's been swimming around in your subconscious mind? You know, that thing that makes you feel unworthy, not good enough, not strong enough. Well, this is my interview with Katrine, and she's going to share with you how she went from having a money block that was preventing her from showing up for herself, her clients, and making the money that she deserved to dissolving it in less than 3 sessions and now making so much more money and having a lot more fun.
Oh, I think it just depends so much on the personality. I think so many people, especially who are business owners, are success driven, overachievers. I suppose the advice is that sometimes it's not based in logic.
Mm.
It could be something that happened to you when you were 5 years old. It could be something that someone said at some point and it's, stuck in your mind and it's a hindrance. Or it could be something having nothing to do with this lifetime. So don't rely on logic alone to solve all issues, and try all sorts of things. And in my case, thank you, Dr. Dara Perry. RTT was just absolute miracle, and so quickly and so effective.
Hello there. I'm here with Katrine. How are you today, Katrine?
I am good. Thank you for having me.
So you were just telling me how this year is starting out for you and how when you think of things, they just kind of manifest. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, some things, not everything yet. We're working towards that. But it's an amazing thing. If you get yourself into a frame of mind of everything's going to, happen and resolve in the best possible for me way, and you just let it go, it's just amazing. Stuff does. It just does.
That's phenomenal. I love that. So we've been working together for like the last 90 days. And would you just tell us what you were struggling with? What were the challenges before we started working together? And what do they feel like now?
Well, my challenge was a bit bizarre. I run a gallery. I'm a gallerist, and my issue was sales. Interestingly enough, I was having problems selling. I was having problems persuading myself that selling is a good thing, which is a bit of a problem for gallerists. And my previous job was as a lawyer, and I practiced law for 15 years. I never had any issues charging money for my services. I thought I deserved it. It's you're charging for know-how, you're charging for your time that could be spent doing other things. Normal. And for some reason, that didn't apply to paintings. So I tried everything I could. Obviously, yoga spends and meditations, most certainly. Trying to manifest, doing this, doing affirmations. Basically, if somebody told me to stand on my head, I would have. And it just wasn't doing it. People were telling me things that made perfect sense, but it didn't stick. And not due to any lack of diligence, it just didn't take until we met.
I hear that so often, and it's not uncommon at all. And coming from a background of being a healer, healers definitely feel like this a lot because you're so passionate and loving about your work. You're like, well, I can't possibly receive anything for doing this, even though you've put all of your time, energy, and money into this project. So and making that transition is tremendous and it's life changing. So what was the thing that you felt like really turned the corner for you, and how different is your life as a result?
Well, what turned the corner for me is an association that had nothing to do with logic. And I wouldn't have gone there but for the session that we did together. And I think it was the second session, you were just asking, correct me, subconscious. There's so many words for this. To take me to where I needed to go. And it showed me a past life, which isn't of this world. I don't know where it was. And it just all of a sudden dawned on me that what the issue was. It had nothing to do with anything that I did or didn't do in this life. It had nothing to do with my parents. It had nothing to do with any kind of inferiority complex or imposter complex or any of the complexes that all of us, have from time to time. It was not within the realm of logic. And once I understood what the issue was, and I was able to let it go because it has nothing to do with who I am today in this lifetime. And man, then I had an exhibition right afterwards and things sold. And I had such a great time selling it. I enjoyed the process.
I love this.
Because there's is nothing wrong with helping an artist sell something. I mean, especially since I believe in every single artist that I represent, sell a beautiful thing. So the buyer wins, right? But by having an extraordinary piece of art in their work, obviously the artist can go on to create these wonderful things. And I'm having fun doing this. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But, to say that and to logically understand that is one thing. But to internalize the fact that the world is not going to end in this lifetime if I sell something, then that's okay. It's great.
Wonderful. That's so great. So now your work is, what I'm hearing, a lot more enjoyable, easier, more fun, and way more profitable.
Well, it's definitely way more profitable, but also it feels organic. It feels natural. So where I previously felt stress and some kind of guilt for no particular reason, now I just feel a sense of ease, joy, and lightness.
Beautiful. What did it feel like before when you were struggling, you were running up against an obstacle that you couldn't put your brain around, couldn't put tools in place to overcome? What did that feel like?
It felt just really heavy because there's so much stress. You're trying to do well for your client, and you're trying to do well for yourself, and something in the back of your head is like, oh, but I just can't sell it. I shouldn't sell it. This is just so wrong. And so these two things, when they meet together, I mean, you don't have any flow. All you have is a like something stale, kind of standstill, which just doesn't feel good. Whereas if you remove that, obviously you have flow, and once you have flow, you're golden.
Awesome.
Hey guys, studies are showing that 68% of people that watch podcasts regularly don't click the subscribe button. Do me a huge favor. If you like this content, click subscribe so other people know where to go for the cool stuff. Thank you.
So what would you say to a business owner that was struggling, feeling like there was just a piece of the puzzle that they were pushing up against an obstacle, not able to get the flow in their life? What would you say to them? Now that you know, what would your advice to them be?
Oh, I think it just depends so much on the personality. I think so many people, especially who are business owners, are success driven, overachievers, and are used to success driven, succeeding at what they do. And so if that doesn't happen, there's a huge amount of psychological cascade that happens. Certainly that was the case for me. I mean, what do you mean I didn't succeed? That's not within the realm of possibility. So something's wrong with me. But I suppose the advice is that sometimes it's not based in logic. It could be something that happened to you when you were 5 years old. It could be something that someone said at some point and it's stuck in your mind and it's a hindrance. Or it could be something nothing to do with this lifetime. So don't rely on logic alone to solve all issues, and try all sorts of things. And in my case, thank you, Dr. Tara Perry. RTT was just absolute miracle, and so quickly and so effectively. So yeah, try.
Fantastic. That's so exciting. I so appreciate you taking the time to come on. Is there anything else that you would say if you were picking up the phone and talking to Katrine, 6 months ago, what would you say to yourself?
Relax. I mean, easier said than done, to be honest. But yeah, relax, because once I find that once I relax, I allow that flow in. And when the flow is in, things happen. But stress and concern and what if prevents you from hearing your inner voice, prevents things from happening. And you're trying to, at least in my case, I was trying to force open some logical direction, which wasn't even the right one. So yeah, relax. That's my advice.
That's awesome. And how would you describe the experience? Because some people, they're like, oh, that's kind of weird and scary going into the subconscious mind. I love to say that I'm just a tour guide. I love that I don't have to figure anything out. Your subconscious just figures it out. It just bubbles up when you ask it the right questions. So what was the experience like for you?
The experience was really cool. It's interesting because half the time I thought I wasn't under.
I get
but
that.
Clearly I was. Yeah, but because I could still, when you ask me questions, I could answer questions. I knew where I was. I remembered things that happened. But clearly I was under, and it's really quite effective, and it's like immediate. often it's immediate. What needs to come, you understand the message. And in our case, the second session, remember, I was falling asleep because my body was saying, no, I don't want to know.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you'd ask a question, you snored, but you stuck with me. And we overcame this, and I finally received the message that I really needed to receive. So I guess it can work different ways, but effective, very effective. And absolutely nothing happens that you don't want to happen in that session. Nothing.
Yeah, no, that's right. I don't have the power. That's another thing that scares people about, hypnosis is, they can make me do things I don't want to do and think things that I don't want to do. But you're in total control. It's just you're in like this very relaxed state where you're just more open to correct answers coming to you. Is that what you would say?
I'd say so. You're just taking part of what you say when you hypnotize. I don't know the proper word, but is let the logical mind take a little vacation, and that really helps to hear the message that your intuition is telling you, or whatever. There's so many words for it. The innate, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So yeah.
I always say that you can't, trying to solve a problem with, 5 to 10% of your brain, which is your conscious mind, is really limiting when you've got this whole 90 to 95% that's got this whole different agenda. I read the other day, it was so interesting. When you're asleep, it's not, you're still a conscious being. It's like when you wake up in the morning and go, I had such a good night sleep. Well, how do you know you had a good night's sleep? What part of you was still aware? So that part of that giant subconscious mind is aware of you, but you're not necessarily aware of it. So this is an opportunity to go and talk to it and dance with it and find out what it wants. And then once there's that communication, then you can make an agreement and change and move in a different direction. What was it like to listen to the audio? Because each time I work with somebody, we discover the root, the cause, and the reason for an issue, go back, rewire it, and then listen to the audio so that new positive neural pathway can be installed. What was that like for you?
Do you know what? Every time it was different. I think when I listened to it at night, I would just fall asleep. But I knew that I was still aware of it, but I wasn't awake. And during the day, every time it was different. Every time it'd be like a different thing. Different, I guess it just during the day, because there's so much also going on. You're affected by whatever's happening in the day. But I can't tell you what the effect of that was, actually. I'm sure there was one.
Yeah.
I think that the revelations during the 3 sessions that we had were so mind-blowing for me. I was just focused on that.
That's fabulous. Katrine, I'm so grateful for you to take time out of your busy schedule and come share your story. Is there anything else that you'd like to share about that experience?
Do it. Try it. It's awesome. I'm so grateful. I am so grateful. And actually, in the 3rd session, as I was telling you before we started to record, I was asking a question and the answer to something entirely different came.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the answer that came was the one I needed. And I'm still working with it now. So
you summed that up perfectly, because if you're trying and still getting the same frustrating results, then there's something wrong with the question. There's something wrong with the way you're asking it, or just the openness that you have to what the real answer is. So that's beautiful. I love the way you said that.
Well, thank you. Thank you for fixing this issue. Oh my God.
Well, I'm so excited to hear about what your upcoming year is going to be like for you, because you're, rocket ship taking off for the stars, and you're in a whole new playground now, which is really wonderful.
It's a great playground to be in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Katrine. Lots of love from you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for
appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
This podcast is intended for the purpose of providing information and education. It does not provide advice and is not meant to be used for any self-diagnosis or the replacement of any kind of licensed professional. The creators and individuals appearing here do not endorse any specific tests, positions, medications, products, or procedures. The views and opinions are expressed in this podcast are of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.